often you think you know McDonald's. Of course you do. Its golden arches are more recognizable to the human eye than the Christian cross. The signature scent of its perfectly salted French fries can trigger childhood nostalgia in an instant. The sound of ice clinking in a dewy cup of Coca-Cola, the textural contrast of a soft bun, a savory patty, and that secret trademark sauce. It's not just food. It's a cultural institution, a pillar of global capitalism. In over 100 countries, across nearly 40,000 locations, this machine churns on, serving billions of burgers to billions of people. They are the undisputed kings of the fast food industry, an empire built on a foundation of ground beef, potatoes, and ruthless efficiency. At least, that's the story they want you to believe. That's the illusion they have so carefully constructed for over 70 years. Because what if I told you that all of it, the burgers, the fries, the McFlurry, the Happy Meals, is just a camouflage, a brilliant magic trick, a global-scale misdirection for their real business. A business that is far bigger, far more profitable, and far more fundamental than simply selling food. Today, we're not going to discuss their menu. We are going to dissect the machine behind it, because to understand McDonald's, you have to forget everything you know about hamburgers. The story they've always told is an American legend. In 1954, a persistent 52-year-old milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc was traveling the country, trying to peddle his wares. Sales were slow, his future looked bleak, but then he received an unusually large order. 8 multi-spindle milkshake mixers for a single, small restaurant in San Bernardino, California. Intrigued, Kroc drove out to see it for himself. What he found would change the course of his life and, eventually, the way the world eats. The restaurant was run by 2 brothers, Dick and Mac McDonald. And it wasn't just a restaurant. It was a factory, a symphony of efficiency. There were no plates, no waitstaff, just a walk-up window, a brutally limited menu, and a kitchen system they called the Speedy Service System. Every employee had one specific task. One person only toasted buns. One person only applied the condiments. The patties were cooked for a precise amount of time. The fries were cooked to a rigid standard. The result was a speed that Kroc had never seen before. Consistent quality food, served in seconds, not minutes. Ray Kroc saw it. He didn't just see a successful burger joint. He saw the future. He saw a system that could be replicated, a formula that could be cloned and planted on every street corner in America. He convinced the reluctant McDonald brothers to let him sell franchises for them. His mission was to build McDonald's restaurants from coast to coast, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Kroc was a fanatic for the system. He created a 350-page operational Bible that dictated every last detail, from how to mop the floors to exactly how many pickles went on each burger. He called his philosophy QSC and V: quality, service, cleanliness, and value. The first franchisees were mirrors of himself, hard-working war veterans, husband and wife teams, who invested their entire life savings. They believed in Kroc's dream. They worked tirelessly to uphold the standards of QSC and V. And the system worked. New restaurants began to pop up. The golden arches started to spread across the Midwest. Ray Kroc, the milkshake machine salesman, was on his way to building the world's largest hamburger empire. But there was one massive problem, a problem that almost destroyed everything. Ray Kroc was making no money. His contract with the McDonald brothers was cripplingly restrictive. He received a tiny sliver of the franchise fee, just 1.9% of a franchisee's total sales. Of that figure, he had to hive 0.5% back to the McDonald brothers. That left him with a meager 1.4%. A pittance. His franchisees may have been starting to see success, but McDonald's Corporation, the company Kroc founded, was hemorrhaging cash. They were drowning in debt. His executives' salaries were being paid from bank loans. Kroc himself had to mortgage his home. The hamburger empire he was building on paper was, in the real world, on the verge of total collapse. This is where the official story usually jumps to the happy ending. But they skipped the most important part. They skipped a moment of epiphany that had nothing to do with burgers at all. they skip a man named Harry J. Sonneborn. Sonneborn was a financial genius, a former VP of finance at the company Taste. Kroc hired him in 1955, hoping he could sort out his company's financial mess. One day, as Kroc was complaining about how little money he was making, Sonneborn looked at him and uttered the words that would change the destiny of McDonald's forever. He said, "Ray, you're never going to build a business off 1.4% of sales. Your real profit is not in the hamburger business, it's in the real estate business." Kroc was confused. He thought he was in the food business. Sonneborn then laid out an idea so brilliant, so fundamental, that it became the bedrock of all of McDonald's future wealth. He said, "Your business is not the hamburger. Your business is real estate." Sonneborn realized that Kroc's problem was his entire business model. He was trying to sell a system, but he didn't control the most valuable asset, the land the system operated on. Sonneborn proposed a radical new strategy. McDonald's Corporation would set up a new company, Franchise Realty Corporation. This company would find and then buy or secure long-term leases on the best physical properties across the country. Then, they would sublease that property to the franchisee. With a catch, the franchisee had to pay a monthly rent or a percentage of their sales, whichever was higher. It was a financial coup d'etat of pure genius. Suddenly, McDonald's wasn't just getting 1.4% of a burger sale. They now had a stable, ever-increasing revenue stream from rent. It also gave them absolute power and control. If a franchisee failed to live up to the strict QSC and V standards, Kroc couldn't just revoke their franchise rights. He could evict them from the property. The franchisee's most important asset, their location, was now completely under the control of McDonald's Corporation. This cash flow from real estate saved the company. It gave them the capital for rapid expansion. It transformed McDonald's from a simple restaurant chain into a hyper-efficient real estate investment machine, which just happened to be funded by the sale of hamburgers. Ray Kroc finally understood. Years later, at a lecture at the University of Texas, an MBA student asked him what business he was in. Kroc asked the students, "What business do you think I'm in?" They all laughed and said, "Everybody knows you're in the hamburger business." Kroc smiled and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." The students were silent, confused. Kroc then explained that the restaurant across the street from their campus was one of the most valuable properties his company owned, not because of how many burgers it sold, but because of the value of the land on that busy intersection. That was the moment the illusion shattered. That was the moment the world should have realized that the burgers and fries were just the bait. The bait to lure small-time entrepreneurs into paying the mortgage for Ray Kroc's real estate empire. So, just how big is this real estate empire hiding behind a hamburger business? The numbers, frankly, are difficult for the human mind to process. Let's try to visualize it. Imagine a map of the United States at night, seen from space. Now, let S illuminate a single point of light for every property that McDonald's owns or controls in that country alone. 1 dot, 2, 10, 100, 1,000. Suddenly, the entire map would blaze with the light of over 14,000 dots, a man-made constellation stretching from New York to Los Angeles. Each one of those dots is a relentless, never-sleeping, rent-generating machine. But that's just America. Let's pull back further to view the entire planet. There are over 36,000 of these light dots across the globe, on the busiest intersection in Tokyo, in a historic square in Rome, in a luxury shopping mall in Dubai. Chances are, wherever there is a concentration of people and money, McDonald's owns a piece of the ground beneath it. Collectively, McDonald's is the 5th largest single owner of commercial property in the world. Think about that. Not a real estate firm, not a REIT, but a burger joint. Their property assets, consisting of land and buildings, are valued on their books at over $40 billion. A number so large it's hard to compare. Let's try the total estimated wealth of the Catholic Church, with its thousands of cathedrals, churches, and lands across the world accumulated over 2,000 years, is estimated to be around $30 billion. The McDonald's real estate empire, built in less than 70 years, is worth more than that. If we took all the property McDonald's owns and consolidated it into a single landmass, it would be larger than the state of Rhode Island, a small country funded by French fries. And remember, that $40 billion figure is the book value. The actual market value of these prime pieces of real estate all over the world is likely much, much higher. Every time you buy a Big Mac, you aren't just paying for the bun, the patty, and the sauce. You're helping to pay down a mortgage on a plot of land in Munich, or helping to fund a new property acquisition in Shanghai. You are an unwitting participant in one of the largest games of Monopoly in history. It's the perfect machine. The franchisees take on nearly all the operational risks: employee salaries, ingredient costs, utility bills, manwheel. McDonald's Corporation sits back and collects a rent check that grows in value with inflation and urban development. The burger is the bait. The property is the inescapable trap. This brilliant business model gives McDonald's Corporation a level of nearly absolute control that other franchise chains simply do and have. In most franchise systems, if a franchisee performs poorly, the parent company can only sue them for breach of contract, a long and expensive process. But at McDonald's, the mechanism is far simpler and far more brutal. Because they are the landlord, they can do what all landlords do: evict their tenants. Their lease agreements are famously strict. Any violation of that thick operational manual can be grounds for termination of the lease. This creates an incredible culture of compliance. Franchisees know they don't truly own their business. They are merely renting it, and the landlord can always take it back. This ensures that every McDonald's from Toronto to Singapore feels exactly the same, which is the key to their brand's power. This control is the real product, not the burger, not even the property. The product Ray Kroc sold to franchisees wasn't the right to sell hamburgers. The product was a proven business system, and the price of admission was the surrender of control over their most vital asset: the land. The lesson here, the lesson that separates us from them, is not about burgers or real estate. It's about the ability to see behind the curtain. It's about understanding that the product being sold on the surface is often not the real business. Facebook and Instagram sell social connection, but their real business is selling your data and attention to advertisers. Google sells unlimited access to information, but its real business is a real-time auction for your intent, expressed through a search bar. Airlines sell transportation, but many of them make more money from their loyalty programs and credit cards than they do from selling tickets. The average person, them, sees the product. They enjoy the burger. They browse social media. They search on Google. A scaled person, us, sees the machine behind it. We ask, where is the real cash flow? What is the real asset being controlled? What is the business model hiding in plain sight? The ability to ask these questions is the difference between being a consumer in the system and understanding how the system itself works. McDonald's didn't invent fast food. They perfected a machine for acquiring commercial real estate funded by other people. It's a lesson far more valuable than any secret sauce recipe. So the next time you pass those golden arches, don't just see a restaurant. See a bank, a real estate firm, a testament to financial genius disguised as cheap food. There are two ways to see the world: the surface story they serve you, which is easy to digest and comfortable, or the real machine, humming noisily underneath. If you want to keep seeing how the other machines that shape our world operate, the ones hidden behind the products you use every day, you're in the right place. If you want to be part of the ones who see behind the curtain, join us. Subscribe.